What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Break the Silence. I'm your host, Syborg. Thanks for clicking on the video and giving me a chance here. I wanted to talk about something. As I was sitting today, I had this thought running through my head, thinking about why I wanted to start making these videos and start giving my opinions on some of these sports topics. One, I'm just really passionate about sports. And you'll definitely hear that. You'll hear me talk about a ton of different sports. I just love them. Always have. But another big reason is I don't like the way that the media talks about a lot of the sports. And I don't like the way that they view them or overreact to them, I guess, for lack of a better word, the way they speak in such hyperbole. What I mean by that is when you are watching a show, and if you watched for the last 365 days of nearly any sports show, talking about the NBA, for instance, you would hear about 20 guys, 20 to 25 probably, listed as top 10 NBA players in the world. The problem with the top 10 list is it can only have 10 guys on it. Shocker, but you'll see a lot of people in the media don't understand that. So when they talk about players like Trae Young, you hear them say, like, flippantly mention that Trae Young is a top 10 player in the NBA. And straight out, he's not. I don't even know if he's a top 15 guy. He maybe is in my top 20. I'm actually going to really nail down my top 20 and release a video of that here in the next few weeks or week. But Trae Young is not in that top 10 list. He's really not even in the discussion. And I'm not here to hate on Trae Young. As much as I hate Trae Young, I'm not here to hate on him. But the way that the media talks about these guys is not based on facts and not based on, like, reality. You want to build players up, so you throw them in the top 10 and you hyperbolize these guys. And I just don't like the way that that's done. I think if you're going to call someone a top 10 player, I want you to write down your top 10, and I want you to show me that they're on your top 10. And I want those 10 guys to be your top 10 guys, the only guys you call on that list. Because otherwise, you end up with way too many. They do this with a lot of sports. And the sports community as a whole kind of does it. When you're talking about the NFL draft, we see a lot of guys who we overreact to for moments and not necessarily what they've proven to us time and time again. For me, I'm someone who puts more value into a college football player's career than I do them throwing against no defense on a pro day as they roll out left and throw a deep bomb right. Maybe I'm wrong for that, but that's just my opinion on it. When you look back at the draft featuring Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, and Mitchell Trubisky, you had a quarterback in Deshaun Watson who had continually performed in college. He was in the Heisman discussions every year. He was leading his team to national championships, playing in that game. He won one against Alabama. He played big in big moments. By all accounts, was a great leader. Don't want to get into the off-the-field stuff now, but at the time, Deshaun Watson had all your tangibles and intangibles you could want in a quarterback. He was smart. He was very talented, accurate throw of the football, big arm, could move well, and he translated really well to the NFL. But for whatever reason, he fell in the draft. Out of the top 10, I want to say he was 12 or 14, but he fell in the draft. You had Mitchell Trubisky, who I had never even heard of in college, which straight up just tells me the guy, what did he do? He was never in the Heisman talks. His team was never in any real, discussions for anything. He was from North Carolina, and he has big pro days. I don't know if he interviewed well, and for whatever reason, we overreact. We throw this guy as he was the number 2 pick in that draft, and right after Myles Garrett. And Mitchell Trubisky was the same guy in the NFL he was in college. Not very good. He was all right. I mean, he had moments where you're like, but he doesn't look like he has a big arm, and still to this day, he doesn't look like he has a big arm. He's not overly accurate. He doesn't seem like he has a lot of confidence in himself. He runs pretty well, which is the one point I'd give him, is that he's a decent runner of the football. He doesn't seem like he's a good leader, all those kinds of things. And obviously, the situation you land in, all those kind of things matter. So maybe Mitchell Trubisky turns it around at some point, but I wouldn't bet my money on it. But it's the same way we view everything. And it's the same way that a lot of the media talks about everything and the way they overreact. And the media doesn't understand, and maybe they do, but the influence they have on the opinions of the casual fan, the young fan. When you are talking, and one of the biggest debates in sports is the LeBron Jordan debate, and I'm not here to get into it right now. Might make a future video on that. Feel pretty strongly about it, but Skip Bayless, who's one of the biggest voices in sports media, was on ESPN. Is now currently on Fox Sports 1. Has pushed the narrative for LeBron's entire career that LeBron's not clutch. And when I talk to a casual fan, maybe not even hardly a casual fan, but someone who knows a little bit about the NBA, the narrative is pushed that LeBron James is not clutch. And then you present with them a statistic of LeBron actually having these game winners and big moments and game-winning shots and clutch moments, and they just kind of brush it to the side, say, no, he's not clutch. But I just showed you facts. I just showed you a statistic that proves you wrong. And that's why it's so important that anyone with a voice on television, in music, churches, anything like that what you're putting across, you're making sure is accurate information. And obviously sports aren't as important as politics, religion, things of that nature. To me, I love sports, and they, really have really really been a big part of my life. But you just need to make sure that what you're saying is true, and what you're saying is not hyperbolic or overreacting. Miguel Cabrera had a season where he won the Triple Crown, led the MLB in batting average, home runs, and RBIs. I don't know if it's hits, home runs, and RBIs. It's either hits or batting average. And then he proceeded to sign a 10-year, $300 million contract. $300 million. I chose the wrong profession. I knew I should have tried to be Miguel Cabrera. But we see these great seasons and these great moments and overreact. He gave him 10 years, $300 million, and the Tigers have done exactly nothing since. They've done nothing since. Now, in my opinion, and this is kind of a little more generic life take, I ain't signing anybody in any field to a 10-year contract. I want you to think about where you were 10 years ago. And obviously I'm pretty young, so 10 years ago I was 12. But think about where you were 10 years ago and who you are now and how different you are. And I also want you to think about how different sports are, how different music is, how different technology, business, art, any of those fields are so different than they were 10 years ago. When you think of the NBA, the pace of play in the early 2000s, I know that wasn't exactly 10 years ago, but the early 2000s was the slowest it's ever been. Fast forward 20 years, and it's now about as fast as it's ever been. I believe the 80s was a touch faster, but the sports change, and that's why I wouldn't sign anyone to a 10-year contract. But my point here in making this video is to say that anything I say on this podcast will be based on research, statistics, and actually watching the games. I feel so often that when I hear people talk about certain sports that they don't actually watch. They don't actually study the things that they're talking about. Now, do I believe that a lot of shows do watch every Lakers game every night? Yeah, potentially. But then when they talk about other games or other players, I don't believe that they watch these guys. And so I'm not going to get on here and I'm not going to, spend my day talking about Cristiano Ronaldo versus Lionel Messi. I don't have the knowledge to debate that topic or even talk about that. So I think we just need to start being more responsible as sports fans, so that what we're saying is accurate. It's not overreaction. It's not hyperbole. And people can enjoy. It can still have high entertainment value, but it can be correct. It's the problem with music nowadays is that the music has evolved, and specifically in hip-hop, music has evolved so much from where it was. The beats are crazy, the production's crazy, the sound of people's voices is awesome, but the lyrics really took a step back. What we need is a combination. We need you to make a great beat with great production and give me a little bit of writing. Give me a little bit of slick lyricism in there. When we're talking about sports media, give me the entertainment, give me the energy, give me those kind of things, but also give me what you're saying in that is correct, insightful, and is portraying the message that you want to get across, and not just being hyperbolic all the time. That's all I got for you. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you could, we're trying to start this up, and I'm going to try to release videos as much as possible. If you could, leave me a like, hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep pushing these things out. We're going to keep talking about different topics. I got a million ideas here. And if you have any thoughts, comment below and let me know. Maybe topics you'd like to see me talk about, or any of your opinions of any of the things I've said. I know this wasn't a highly opinionated video, but a lot of videos I do will be. So far, I've only done the reactions and this one here kind of talking about why I want to do this. But yeah, we will see you in the next one. Syborg out.